Welcome to Employer Live Career Conversations. I'm Berdina Hill with Career and Employability Resources at Tri-County Technical College. We will have a short question and answer session discussing interview tips today for virtual interviewing. We have Jennifer Barker from Easley branch of YMCA. Hi, Jennifer, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about the YMCA and kind of what is your typical day in your role?
So the YMCA is a nonprofit organization. We serve, basically our role is to serve the community at large. So that can look like, every YMCA can look a little bit different because we're there really to serve what the community needs. So our YMCA, for example, we do childcare, which is my focus, but we also serve members through having a place to come and work out or socialize, coming in and going swimming or taking swimming lessons or playing youth sports. So we really serve the community wherever they are and whatever their needs are at that time. My role specifically is a part of the child care team. My role is to recruit, train, and hire, and then develop child care staff, so specific to our after school and our summer camp programs. So working with those programs, a typical day for me kind of depends on the season we're in, but right now going into after school, it is reviewing applications every day, interviewing, doing training with staff, preparing to be in those sites, so doing site visits with staff, getting staff prepared to go in, shadowing with staff, basically getting them ready to go and work with a group of 15 children, which is an experience in and of itself.
So what should students do to prepare for a virtual interview? I know you talked about interviewing and kind of doing applications. Mm-hmm. And what are some protocols that you put in place in case a call drops during a virtual interview?
Okay, so as far as preparing, I think, and I kind of even did it to you a little bit, where I came in a little bit late and Zoom, since I don't typically use it, didn't load fast enough, so I was a minute or so late. So really, my thought would be that you go in before and make sure everything works before you log in for the first time, so that you kind of avoid that. That way you can let the person you're interviewing with know if you're having technical difficulties, because it happens, especially when you're talking about virtual interviews. And then I think the normal things you do to prepare for an interview: what you're going to wear, kind of thinking through what you're going to say, thinking through those questions that the person on the other side is going to ask you. If the calls drop for us, virtual interviewing is completely new for us. All of that started with COVID. Everything else before that was in person. So really for me, it's having a backup plan. So if like the call drops, I'll just call them on the phone, do a phone interview. If I need to follow up or something like that, like I can set a time to meet with them. So we have other ways we can go about it, because even, we can socially distance and wear masks and stuff during interview. So we can do a phone interview or have them come in if we want to do that as well. So we can do several other things.
Okay. So you did mention that y'all are doing virtual interviews. Mm-hmm. What kind of platform are you typically using for your virtual interviews?
We are using something called GoToMeeting, which is a platform that is connected to the company that we use for like our phone system and everything. So that's something, before COVID was a thing that we had added on, and then COVID became a thing, and then we just started using it. It is super simple to use. You don't have to, and even Zoom was super simple, but you don't have to log into anything. You just have to have a computer and a phone, and you can move.
Okay. What are some common interview questions that you may ask, and maybe you can highlight a couple of what kind of response you're looking for?
Okay. So the ones that, when you mentioned this question to me, that kind of jumped out in my mind, especially when you're working with children, is we ask a good deal of questions about how, like, your stress responses. So when was the last time you were stressed out? How do you handle chaos? What frustrates you? Specifically in my role, they're working with children. So children have a way of finding your buttons and pushing them. So really trying to figure out how they respond in those situations, how they are managing their stress. And for me, there's self-awareness. So when you're young, I feel like you're still learning to be self-aware. So that self-awareness of, yeah, here's what stresses me out. I know kind of what causes me to be frustrated, what feels like chaos to me, and here's what I do to manage it. Here's the steps I take. And I think everybody's different, so I don't know that there's a specific answer I'm looking for, but knowing that they're self-aware enough to know these are my triggers, this is how I respond, these are the steps I take to try to calm myself down, because when you're working with children, you're gonna feel those things at some point. You're gonna feel frustrated. You're gonna feel it's gonna feel chaotic. You're gonna feel stressed out. So do you have the skills to be able to deal with that in the moments that it's happening?
Right. So I know a lot of times students worry about saying the wrong thing during an interview. So what are some topics that you feel that they should stray away or kind of stay away with not discussing during the interview?
I would say just not sharing too much. Like, answer the question, but stay on topic. Don't go into too much personal detail that isn't really necessary.
Right.
One, I think it gives away things about yourself that you probably don't want to give away. But also it can go into some awkward conversations that you don't want to share in an interview.
I think that's a great tip.
Thanks.
So another question that I have for you is, a lot of times you have impressive interviews that stand out in your head. So what are give us an example of an impressive interview that you conducted and what made that individual stand out to you?
So I feel like maybe I'm a little weird in the fact that the things that stand out to me are usually things that you don't think of standing out in interviews. So one, very early on when I first started interviewing, one of the people I was looking at for childcare, and childcare staff as a general rule, just they aren't the ones who are the most dressed up or anything like that when they come to an interview, which is I'm totally used to. So he came in like a full suit. And I was just like, yeah, bring it. Let's do this. So that interview sticks out of my mind. And there's another one from last year, and it was a young girl. She was maybe 17. But she was just so authentic. Like, everything she said, real bubbly and happy and excited to be there, but also just everything that she said, like, it was coming from her. Like, it wasn't practiced. It wasn't sometimes when you interview enough people, you feel like the answers are kind of canned a little bit. And I don't think that's bad. I really like it when someone comes in and they're answering honestly and openly, not too much, but sharing from their heart, not necessarily the canned answer that they think I want to hear.
So kind of going into that, at least right into how can a student enhance their personality and authenticity during their interview? How can they show their authentic self when they interview?
I think the question that really sticks out in my mind in that is, for me, so we talk about regarding working with children, what is your greatest strength and what is your greatest weakness? The question that I like, there's several, but one that I think that really shows authenticity can be that greatest weakness question. And I think, at least when I was in school, we were kind of taught, okay, try to make your weakness a strength. And I don't think that's bad, but I also think there's a piece where I want to see, again, that self-awareness. Like, I want to see that you know what your weakness is and you're taking steps to change it, to work on it. If I get stressed or overwhelmed, my attention to detail goes out the window. I know that about myself, and these are the things I'm doing to correct. So I want to see that in them too. So really, like, I feel like you can have a thought out response beforehand that you're using, but that also reveals who you are, tells me who you are and how you're different from the other person who said their greatest weakness was they were too nice or too empathetic. Like, I want you to really think and tell me what your weakness is, but what you're doing to fix it, or at least to make it better. You're never going to fix it. I don't think. You're just going to have tools and tips to work through it.
Absolutely. So I know that we partner a lot and talk about different job openings, and you currently have some job openings. If a student is interested in applying, you give them some tips on how to apply with the YMCA?
Sure, they can actually do that all online from our website. Our website is PC, as in Pickens County, YMCA.net. It's at the top right-hand corner, it'll say careers. So I hire specifically for our summer camp and after school program. So we are definitely always, I feel like, looking for after school counselors. However, if working with children is not necessarily your thing, we do have member services, which is kind of a customer service role. We're looking for lifeguards, I'm sure, as well as volunteers for like coaches and all that kind of fun stuff too. So there's all kinds of ways to get involved that aren't necessarily working with children. But if you are and are passionate about that, we would love to have you in childcare.
That is fantastic. So, Jennifer, again, thank you so much for sharing your tips on how to effectively interview in a virtual platform to our Tri-County Technical College community. We appreciate it.
Thank you for all you do to help us too. Thank you.
It is a community and it's a partnership.
Right.
So this event has been hosted by Career and Employability Resource Office at Tri-County Technical College. Career and Employability Resource Office is here for you, students and alumni. And what we do is we provide career counseling, we provide assessments, we educate you on work-based learning opportunity, job search assistance, mock interview, resume assistance, and so much more. Contact us at the information listed below. And again, thank you for your time. Until next time, please stay safe. And remember, bright careers start here. See you later.